Can a DUI affect my job and or career? Yes, a DUI can affect your job and or career. A DUI technically are typically charged as a misdemeanor, not an infraction, and can also be sometimes charged as a felony depending on the facts and circumstances of the case. As a misdemeanor, since it falls in the category of misdemeanor, it still constitutes as a crime and or criminal offense. So when you are applying for jobs and they run a background check, a DUI can show up as a criminal type of case and or conviction if you are convicted. Now, obviously, some jobs may be open than others, but the other potential consequence, even if they are okay, is can you drive? If your job requires you to transport or utilize a particular vehicle, do you have a valid license? Is your license reinstated? Or is your license suspended? And if so, what's the time period of the license being suspended? These are factors that can affect your job if driving is required. Now, if driving is not necessarily required, but essentially not part of your job, then essentially even though your license is suspended, you could request for a restricted license sometimes. And a restricted license can allow you to drive the vehicle to and from work as long as you have a particular machine, interlocking ignition machine device in the particular car. Essentially, before you drive, you have to blow into the machine. And if your breath doesn't produce any type of certain level of alcohol, then essentially you are allowed to turn the car on. Now, other ways that a DUI conviction can affect your job and or career is if your job requires any particular license. Sometimes licensing authorities, they frown upon any person getting a DUI or any criminal offense whatsoever because they believe, especially for DUIs, it affects their ability, being under the influence affects their ability to do their job. And this is a form of character, arguably speaking, saying if this person got a DUI, how can we know that this person can be responsible in doing the job? Now, obviously, there's arguments, and this is where you actually want to argue in the licensing board with a attorney that specializes in that particular field. But for the most part, at the end of the day, having a DUI, whether you have been arrested, charged, and or convicted, can have the strong impact towards your particular career and or job. That's why it's very important to contact a California DUI defense lawyer to evaluate the case, to look at everything and see the best outcome for your case. At Shaw 3 Law Firm, we're here to help, we're here to guide you, and we're here to make sure you get the best results.